What's up, A Pushers? Mr. Imans here with activity number 4, talking about the economy and kind of like what's happening inside of the United States from 1945, basically in 1970 or so. Um, so let's get into this here. So first thing is the GI Bill. Kind of want to review these kind of 3 things about the GI Bill that's on there. So the GI is basically GI is anybody that serves for our American military. And so at the end of World War II, we had all these American men coming back here to the United States. And one thing that we wanted to do is kind of offer the idea of education towards them to increase the education of our workforce. More educated people create better things and better products, and those products can compete around the world, making us stronger. Right, and that's theoretically this bill is I would say again as an economic historian one of the massive reasons why we have one of the great educational systems in the world and why that great educational system has supported one of the greatest economies in the world. I truly believe that, and largely why I'm a teacher. So the GI Bill is passed in efforts to supporting those GIs returning back specifically from war, but this still is true today. And there's a lot of reasons why a lot of students of poverty often do choose the military, because there is this idea that they will pay for your college, as many would say. So this GI Bill, important back then, definitely important today. So let's talk about the parts of it. First of all is the educational support. So veterans were given money on tuition, and obviously that's changed from this amount. But I have a few buddies who have gone into the military and they've gone out and they're gaining a lot of their college almost completely paid for. Unemployment benefits if they didn't have a job when they returned back, giving them some money to do so, and then also loan guarantees. It's not very true, right? Not It's true now that there's actually specific loans for homes that are at much cheaper rates, and you don't have to put as much money down. That means you don't have to have as much money up front for a deposit on the purchase of the home compared to other loans. So these loan guarantees in the past weren't extended to those type of purchases, but they are now today. Due to people coming back home and also probably a little bit of the depression of war and the joy and the euphoria of peace, we go through something known as the baby boom, and that generation is coming towards almost a little bit of a close right now. The baby boomers, so these are individuals that were born after World War II for those 10 years. So a little bit of my parents' age, so not necessarily there, but they're definitely a little bit more in the power as of right now. The birth rates were quite high during this time. There's a lot of kids, and that's going to cause the most important thing is a lot of economic advances, because now we have a more populated workforce. We have more of them. More people buy more things. That means you need more jobs and more businesses, and that is one thing. In economics, and even China got rid of this kind of like limited children law. If you look at economics, the more people you have, the more consumers you have, and going back to the age of empire, remember their focus was to find more markets. More markets, again, isn't Food for Less. It's not Best Buy. It's not Costco. Markets are people are going to buy your things. And so if you have more people inside the United States, they're more likely going to buy more things, more cars, more clothes, more. So it's kind of, I don't know. One of my concerns about the economy is that at what time do you have a population get more? But sometimes those populations bring efficiencies like recycling or reusing or electric vehicles, right? And these things can maybe help us. Due to this baby boom, people are trying to find homes and not apartments. And with the GI Bill and with other things, Americans began trying to get a little more access towards cheaper loans that we'll talk about in a second. And we have this growth of what we call suburbia. Now, this is some really nice suburbs here. But we're talking about non-city life, largely out into rural areas, but they take this rural kind of like almost foresty area, right? And then they'll cut it an area and it'll be all the same homes. They go up really quick. And the assembly line method of making a car began to be applied to homes. And this is what we still see today. You guys might call them track homes, right? They're on a certain track and there's like kind of 3 different models and they all alternate. This is what we call a suburb. And so people are leaving the cities out to the suburbs. They're trying to find cheaper homes, and these assembly line fashion is done. Transportation is a little bit easier now with cars. So people who want to go to work can go from the suburbs to the city and then go from the city back out to the suburbs. Obviously, they're creating rail lines and other ways of public transportation to move into those areas as well. So you kind of have this kind of like migration, and it's largely white, it's largely middle class and affluent, rich, that are leaving the cities, that have all of this kind of grossness and pollution, all these other things, but they have great opportunities for work and go into the suburbs. And that's kind of the relationship between a city and a suburb. Is the city is usually the economic foundation, and the suburbs on the outside, you have commuters that go in and out. This is where they live, but this is where they primarily work. So yeah, we have the growth of the suburbs at this time, and like I said, largely concentrated only to a few group of people. Another way in which the government is assisting individuals to do this is something called the FHA loan. These are still available today, and you don't have to put as much of a what we call a down payment. In other words, how much percent of the money that you need to put down. So, if we had a $100,000 home, then you would need to put down 3,500, right? Down $3,500 down to go ahead and purchase that home. According to what's happening right now, I believe, with that 3.5% down payment. So there's definitely government loans out there that are made, making it easier for people to purchase these suburban homes and move out to suburbia. So there you go. All right, guys. So I know that was kind of quick and short, but it's kind of a quick and short lesson plan, and that's what it's really focused on. So hopes that helps you understand. And we're going to start moving into some of the kind of more civil rights, minority rights, women rights, and even the environmental movement that really encapsulates period 8. But right now we kind of focus on a little bit of the economy and a lot of the Cold War, and we'll be moving into those other sections starting in the next assignment and next activity. All right, guys, take care. See ya.